Hi friends, today we are going to learn about how to create a simple Spring Boot application and convert that application into Docker image and how to push that image onto Google Cloud. So let's get started. First we'll create a simple Spring Boot project. Let's create a controller package which will handle our request. Let's name as request handler. So here we will be creating a simple get API or endpoint which will take as a name as a string as an input and display as a string. Now let's create a Dockerfile. So here if you can see we have mentioned OpenJDK. So it's like from where we need to download the Java file. Then we have a Tomcat server. You can specify the version name as well. So I just gave the Tomcat 8 version. And the target from where it has to pick the jar. As I'm using Maven, so the jar will be in target folder, and it's like on which endpoint we want to expose. So it would be like, since I want to expose it on 8080 endpoint port number, so we can mention here as well. And what would be the entry point, we'll mention here. Now let's go to GCP. So first we'll make a project. So my project name is GCP Kubernetes Docker, as I already created. Now the second step is to enable the API. For that we'll go to API and services dashboard, enable APIs and search for container engine. Now we can see the Kubernetes engine API. We'll make it enable. So in this tutorial we will be using Docker Hub to push our images onto Docker Hub. So we need to create an account for that. Let's open the Docker terminal first. And now we will be opening Google Cloud SDK. Reach to the project directory. So let's see which current project ID we are referring to. For that we will be using command gcloud config list. So right now the current project is my Docker 3, which is not my current project. So let's make it to let's initialize it and make GCP Kubernetes Docker as my current project. I need to select the region. So let me select the region. Yes. Now if the config list, you can see the project name GCP Kubernetes Docker, which is my current project. Let's see how many images we have right now. Okay, before that let's see how many components we are going to use it and what are the components installed. So in this case we need Kubernetes kubectl, but as I already installed, so it's showing installed. If it's not installed, then we will be using the command which is displaying here, like gcloud component install and the component ID. So now let's build a Docker image. For that we were using docker build -t. -t refers to the tagging and the name of image. So since I will be using India docs, that which is my Docker repository. After that we will be using GCP Kubernetes -docker, and v1 is our version number. So once we push our changes here or Docker image here, we can see a new image would be here. Right now we are not seeing an image here, but it would be here once we push our changes. So we can see successfully tagged India docs GCP Kubernetes. So as the Docker image is created, so we can see GCP Kubernetes Docker. So since the image is created now, let's push Docker image onto Docker Hub. So we will be using Docker push the image name, yeah, and version, which version we wanna push, yeah. Now if you see, the push refers to repository docker.io.indiadocs GCP Kubernetes Docker. So by default, when we this docker.io, we haven't give it anywhere, so by default depend it into the URL. Now as the Docker image has been pushed, let's see on Docker Hub. Yes, we can see to the image, push that image into Docker Hub. Now we are going to create a container. For that we will be writing gcloud container, and again it asking for some subparameters, so we will be passing, since we need to create clusters, so we would be using gcloud container clusters. So again it is asking for subparameters, so we would be passing, we need to create a cluster, so it's like command would be gcloud containers clusters create and the cluster name. It is again asking for subparameters, so we would be passing gcloud container clusters, and then what we need to do is like either we need to create, delete, or upgrade any cluster. So we need to create a cluster. Now the cluster name would be required. Let's say the cluster name is kube cluster, yeah. Now we can see the cluster has been created. So let's see on the console itself, go to Kubernetes engine. There we go. So we can see the kube cluster which we have created. Now so far we have build an image, deploy, push the image into Docker Hub, create a cluster, but we haven't run the cluster yet. So let's first run the cluster. For that we would be using kubectl run image, the name of image GCP Kubernetes -docker, and we also need to mention which port we want to run it. So it would be like port 8080 we want to run it. Oh, we need to mention the cluster name as well, yeah. So kubectl run cluster name, so the syntax would be kubectl run cluster name, then image name, then port. Oh, something goes wrong. Oh yeah, we need to use equal sign rather than colon. Now we can see that kube cluster has been created and running, but it won't work until we expose it to the external world. For that we would be using command kubectl deployment and cluster name, and we need to mention the type. that is equal to load balancer. Now we can see the service kube cluster exposed. We can see the external IPs and other details by the command kube cluster. It should be kubectl. Yeah. kubectl get services and the cluster name. Now we can see the external IP. Now to test the application, copy the external IP. Because since everything is inside a container, so we can't access it directly, we need an external IP name and the parameter which we're passing, any name. So let's pass my name. There we go. We can see the output. That's all we have for the session. Thanks for watching.